Well, I thought I'd make a video from inside the 7th Street Market. I haven't decided, because my time here is almost over. One of the icons of this particular market is the Lord and Savior, which is everywhere. I painted this door. It was all kind of rusted before, but when I was working to earn my keep staying here, I painted this ugly thing black. It was very hard to paint and get any paint on the crucifix. Anyway, let's go inside real quick. I want to finish a story that I started to tell last night. I forgot one little bitty anecdote from it to share. In last night's video called Affluence, I talked about a couple, two couples actually, and their $900 between them Chinese dinner that they had. I picked them up at that very exclusive, I mean really exclusive restaurant in Newport Beach. And I remember because I pulled the car in with Lyft. I've got the app mounted on the dashboard and on my phone here. And when I pull in, you click on the button and that sends an alert to let them know that you've arrived. So you don't have to do anything. You just sit there and they come out and they can see a picture of my car. And I have the flashers running, so it's really easy to find me. Anyway, I parked right behind the valet parking, and I was parked right behind. This is an illustration of how different this world is. I mean, seeing fancy cars is no big deal. I mean, I would go all my years in Japan and maybe see one Lamborghini, or even in Santa Barbara, which is a very interesting community, a very affluent community as well, and see something like that. But in the OC, in Newport and Laguna, down by Dana Point, all those areas, far more common. But anyway, the car sitting right in front of me, valet parked car, was a McLaren supercar with Kuwaiti license plates. Go figure. Well, anyway, the thing that struck me, and the reason for the title of this video, I Can Get No Satisfaction, was on kind of a comment made by the senior man, and he actually said as much. He's the guy that sat in. He took shotgun. Remember, there were two men, two women, couples, longtime friends, powerful people. And he said something like, you know, when you're the big guy, you sit up front. I mean, a lot of the stuff that these people say kind of turns me off. But remember, in a competitive world, in a landscape of one-upmanship, that's the kind of environment that attracts these people who are on the competitive track, that get to where they're going through skill, talent, the art of politics, maybe even just maybe less complimentary terms. I don't know, but those are human elements common in everything. Well, anyway, so he was definitely the big dog. And later, when I saw their homes, because I dropped each couple off in their home, I definitely saw he was the big dog. He had the big house. I mean, really, we went into this gated community. That's another thing I get to do with this lifting thing in these areas, is I get an entry into these very exclusive gated communities. Some of them, like one I was in yesterday, was the size of a city. I can't remember, it had a weird name. I can't remember what it was called. And it had 3 lines to get in, 3 lanes to get in. It was like a highway to get in. And I thought the 2 young women that took me there were taking me down a highway, and it turned out it was an entrance into this huge, immense gated community. It would have been probably the size of a small town or small city. So anyway, I saw the one, and he was the big dog. Very, very, clearly a lot of money in there. And now here's the comment. They were talking about things, and they're really into restaurants. So their chit-chat went back and forth about all their restaurants experiences, and talking about the food and the layers of flavors and the competence of the chefs involved, and how long their tenure had been at a particular restaurant. These were connoisseurs, people who look forward to their weekends to indulge their taste buds in the culinary fineries that only a great metropolis like Los Angeles, and in particular the OC, can offer. I mean, they really were Epicureans. A strange word, Epicurean, given that Epicurus himself dined on bread and water, and to him a tub of cheese would have been a luxury. That's strange. Anyway, back to the point. So I saw their homes, luxurious, beyond belief, setting a new standard of opulence, of everyday opulence, not billionaire opulence, but multi-millionaire opulence. So that while we were riding along, they were talking about how wonderful their evening was, and they were a little bit inebriated, so the words were free-flowing, a little bit careless. And the one man, the big dog, he just kind of said, and the men were talking, and the women were talking. There were two dialogues going on. I was really focusing on the men talk, you know. And he said, the big guy sitting next to me, there was a big guy too, and physically. And he basically, and the other thing was they were so careful about what they ate. You know, talking about, you know, trying to avoid, you know, overeating, or that would be Epicurean principle for sure. And talking about avoiding the breads and the stuff and trying to keep healthy. But anyway, I diverge. It's so fascinating. Here's the point that he said. At one point he was saying, we had such a great time here in Laguna. I love this community. And Laguna really is a special community. And he says, it's so great. You know, he says, I'm so over Newport. And the moment it just kind of stopped, the two men stopped the conversation. The women were still chattering away. And the men stopped, and the one man in the back said, oh, that's such a first world problem. And we all kind of stopped for a second, the three of us, because I was passively engaged. You know, they know I'm there. I didn't say anything. I didn't say a word through the whole thing. And we just kind of sat there for a second, and we lost ourselves in, is it irony? Is it an alien perspective? You know, the guilt that comes with a statement like that? To have so very much. To be so in the top 1% percentile, maybe even the 0.1 percentile of human good fortune, and then to call that not enough, you know, to say that the splendors of Newport, which if this was Rome, these men would have been the senators of Rome, and to say it's not enough, and to want a still greater palace and still more. I'm not accusing them of anything or criticizing them, although I think accusations and criticism are probably due and earned given the need, given the fact that there are children starving to death or dying of diarrhea in their mother's arms as we were speaking, and as their $900 meal were digesting in their stomach, and complaining over the difficulty of having to suffer through a life in a mansion in Newport versus one in the still more splendid Laguna Hills. But I think that what it really is they've fallen prey to, I think, a more human emotion of never quite finding enough where we're at, and not really an emotion and a perspective of not getting any satisfaction, of wanting something more. And it's something for me, a lesson to keep in mind as I move forward, because it's something that's plagued me through various stages of my life. Less so in recent years, less so. You know, I'm more so as years go by, as months and weeks go by, just the very fact of still breathing, the very fact that I'm without chronic pain, and that I have the opportunity to do good deeds for themselves, for their own sake. So maybe less so. There you go. I wanted to share that story with you. How did I get to 8 minutes and 27 seconds? I thought this would be just a simple addendum to last night's video, but it's become something in its own right. A lot of the stories that I'm learning are, something worthy of being shared in their own right. Not for me. I'm just a conduit through which the stories pass. And there was so much more that happened last night that I'd like to share as well, but it would go on to 20 and 30 minutes, maybe later. Now it's time to make my breakfast and get on back down to the OC and continue my vigil for the rich, the famous, do you dare to use the word magnificent, perhaps in their own eyes, in the eyes of society? They would be, for sure. These are the types of people that tabloids are made for, whether they're famous or not, for the glamour of their lifestyle, for the experience that they know that for the most part, most of us can only sit by and wonder and gawk at. And these are my customers. Okay. Talk to you later. Now it's time to work. See ya.